This story is about a man named Danny who was raised and trained like a dog by a gangster named Brett since childhood. In the beginning, we see Danny with a leash tied around his neck. As soon as the leash is untied, he becomes savage and starts beating everyone. He breaks one man's spine. He keeps beating everyone until his owner tells him to stop. A gangster pulls Danny's hair, but Danny doesn't feel any pain. He beats everyone present, breaking their bones, except his owner. After the job is done, Brett puts the leash back around Danny's neck, which immediately calms him down. His owner, Brett, takes money, rings, and chains from these people and says that next time, if you don't pay on time, I won't stop him. Understand? After receiving the money from them, Brett goes to the other debtors with his men. Most of them were eager to give money. After that, Brett would untie Danny's leash, and then whatever Danny did to them, they would never delay in returning the money. It was better for them to keep the leash around Danny's neck. We see that Brett treated Danny like a pet dog. The way he fed him, the way he talked to him, even the way he scolded and explained was exactly as if someone was talking to a dog, not a human. Since childhood, he had kept Danny like that, so his brain could never develop properly. One day, when Danny returned after a fight, Brett's men saw that Danny was bleeding profusely from his head. He said, "Boss, Danny is hurt. What should we do?" To which Brett said, "Hey, what should we do? Give him a leash. He will fix it himself." They give Danny medicine to stop the bleeding, but the poor guy didn't know how to apply it. After the work was done, they put Danny in a cage and locked him up so he couldn't escape. Brett had only trained him to fight, so that's all Danny did while eating and drinking. One day, he punches a punching bag so hard that it bursts. Seeing the sand falling from it, Danny starts collecting the sand. Danny immediately tries to stop him. He feels bad for the bag because he didn't know the difference between what can feel pain and what can't. The only thing he had to talk to in his cell was a teddy bear, and no one else would talk to him. That night, Danny found a book in his cell with ABCD written on it. He started turning pages one by one and looking at the drawings in it. But he couldn't understand anything except P for piano, because he had a deep memory connected to the piano. Meanwhile, a drop of blood falls on the book. He was hurt worse. Danny looks at the bandage again, but instead of dressing himself, he puts the bandage on his punching bag. Meanwhile, we see Brett having fun with the girl, but when the girl sees Danny, she runs away in fear. Thus, Brett's money and fun are both ruined, and he takes out his anger on poor Danny. Although Danny doesn't care because he doesn't feel anything good or bad. After that, he takes Danny to work again. This time, he was supposed to collect money from a gym owner. The owner thought that Brett would run away in fear after seeing his wrestler. But when his people saw Danny's power, they forbade him from fighting and told his boss, "Boss, give him the money, otherwise he will beat us up." Then they went to another debtor, but maybe he was just having a bad day because everyone else was struggling to pay back the money. Finally, they went to a man named George. He was a bit older, so Brett tried to talk to him and tried to resolve the matter. The man says, "Brett, you're a very dirty man, but I find one thing about you very interesting, that you turned a good man into a dog." He asks, "How did you do that?" To which Brett says, "My mother used to say that if you start young, you can become anything." The man says, "Okay, explain it to me again. If you don't give me money, you'll untie his leash and it'll kill everyone. So I'll keep the leash tied. That's what's good for me." Brett understands that this is his trick. He immediately tries to pull Danny's leash, but then his people attack him. Brett is beaten badly in front of Danny's eyes, but Danny won't do anything until the leash is untied. George tells Brett, "After I kill you, I'll kill your pet dog too." But even after hearing this, Danny's face doesn't even crease. Thinking that they will do anything to him now, he leaves. But Brett takes the opportunity to fight with these people and takes the leash off Danny's neck. As soon as he does this, Danny chases away and kills his thugs. When George sees his people being beaten, he calls more thugs, but soon he realizes that it is better to give money. He says, "Take what you want, but let us go." However, Brett is firm on his principles. He takes only as much as he needs and leaves. This was the first time that anyone had tried to kill Danny while he was alive. After the job was done, they kicked Danny into the car and brought him to their base. Brett says, "I can't believe he just stood there and watched them beat me. Even a dog has enough sense to protect his owner, bite him, claw him, pee on him, whatever." But even after hearing all this, Danny didn't seem to care. He just stood there quietly listening to him. Brett's men said, "Boss, let's get you a bandage first. We'll get it tomorrow." But Brett said, "If we don't take the money from one person, then tomorrow everyone will have the courage." After that, they went to another man. Brett said, "First, I'll try to handle the matter politely, but if he doesn't, I'll press this button." This time, to avoid the last mistake, he said to Danny, "Hey Danny, pay attention. When I press this button, this red light will start flashing. When the red light comes on, break the door like a storm and come to me." Danny got confused by all these instructions at once, but Brett repeated everything to him again because this time he could have lost his life. After explaining for half an hour, he understood that he had to go inside when the red light came on. After they leave, Danny keeps his eyes on the light bulb. He had been waiting for a long time, but the light bulb was not even close to burning. At the same time, Danny's eyes fall on the broken piano that was kept there. Danny went to it and accidentally touched it, which made a tune come out of it. Danny had never heard such a tune before today, which scared him a little. At the same time, a man comes there. He has come to fix this broken piano. He tells Danny his name is Sam, but when he asks Danny his name, Danny doesn't say anything to him and just stands there silently. Now, because Sam had to fix several pianos, he asks Danny for a little help. At his request, Danny presses the piano buttons and he fixes his head from behind. Poor Danny had never played the piano before today, and when he did, it was like a 2-year-old child finding a toy. Sam couldn't see, but he could feel her happiness. At the same time, Sam said, "Are my ears ringing, or are you hearing a ticking sound too?" Danny saw that the red light was going out. He immediately ran to Brett, but by then it was too late. The thugs had almost beaten him to death. Brett says, "I swear I will sell you. You can't even speak as much as I taught you. You will ruin me. You will die. I give you food, clothes, a place to hide your head. I work so hard that it's different, just to make you a working man. And what do I get in return? When you're here, the brother-in-law kills whoever he wants and goes away." After telling him all this, they put him back in the cage. Meanwhile, a man said, "Boss, someone has come to see you." Brett was not in the mood to talk to anyone today, but when he found out that the big party had come, he asked him to come in. The man said, "Yesterday, when that fighter of yours was beating up George's thugs, I was there. I saw that he had an incredible fighting ability. That's why I want to make a rich deal with you." Brett found out that he organizes a deadly fight every month in which he needs new fighters. The first fight is just for testing, in which the winner gets $15,000. One fighter had already won $1 million from here, and the winner is decided by the death of the loser. Brett, who was very angry with Danny, immediately accepted his offer. The next day, Brett went to him where Danny was supposed to fight a fighter who had not been beaten by anyone in the last 15 fights. He untied his belt and said, "Danny, fuck the son of a bitch." Just as he said that, Danny punched him so hard that the fighter collapsed in one punch. Thus, the fight was over before it even started. As promised, Brett gets his money, which he would be overjoyed to receive because it was his entire year's earnings. He no longer needed to work. He said, "Danny, tell me what you want." Danny is silent for a while, then says that he wants a piano. Hearing this, Brett mocks him and says, "Why not a piano? Let's go and feed you at a 5-star hotel. So take the girl, you've never been with a girl." But Danny only wanted the piano. Brett says, "That's what I like about you, Danny. One thought at a time. That's when our couple is so strong." Before he can say anything else, suddenly a truck hits them hard, causing their car to overturn. After that, some people get out of the car with weapons and start shooting at them. Everyone dies in this attack except Danny, who escapes from these people. After that, he went to the same warehouse where the piano was kept. Sam was sitting there fixing the piano when he heard Danny's cry. Sam tells him to come closer, but Danny was bleeding a lot, due to which he faints. When he regains consciousness, he finds himself on a comfortable bed. He was not used to it, so he hid under the bed in fear. After some time, Sam came there. He immediately knew that Danny was scared, so he quietly slipped his food under the bed and left there. In the same way, a few days pass, but Danny does not come out of his room. One day when he came out of the room, he saw Sam playing the piano, but as soon as his daughter Victoria came in, Danny ran back to his room. That same night, Victoria comes to his room and gives him a small piano. However, she did not force Danny to come out. Finally, Danny comes to them on his own. Sam gave him bread to eat, but Victoria saw that he did not know how to eat like a human. He was licking the bowl like a dog. However, instead of making fun of him, they taught him to eat with a spoon. The next day, Sam asks Danny about the leash around his neck, but as soon as he tried to touch it, Danny immediately backed away because he did not want to hurt anyone. The next day, Sam goes with Danny to drop Victoria off at school. Now, he gradually started taking Danny with him everywhere so that he could learn to mingle with people. He taught him how to buy fruit from the market, play the piano, how to eat, how to dress, everything. And Danny was also blending in very well in this new world. One day, Sam asks him to take out spices from the cupboard, but as soon as Danny opened the cupboard, he saw a photo of Victoria and her parents there. Here he found out that Victoria was Sam's stepdaughter. When asked, Sam tells him that Victoria's father had died in a car accident. He was a good friend of mine, so after he left, Victoria's mother and I got married. Everything was going well, but it was our misfortune that a year later, we also had an accident in which Victoria's mother died and I lost my eyesight. Now, Danny is slowly starting to feel accepted between them, and every day he learns things that he had not known for years. One day, he goes shopping with Sam in the market, where some goons break in and beat him up. Everyone gets scared seeing them, but Danny doesn't care at all about their fight, and he keeps on doing his shopping quietly. When he gets home, Sam asks him, "Didn't you get worried about what happened today? Aren't you scared?" To which Danny says they weren't fighting me a bit, as if this was all very normal for him. Now, they started taking Danny to new places every week, so that by seeing the people around him, Danny could understand how big the outside world is, where every person thinks and lives differently. Although, even after doing all this, they still haven't been able to get the courage to remove the leash from his neck. One day, Victoria comes to Danny and tries to remove the leash while talking to him. But as soon as she touches him, Danny starts having scary thoughts because he was trained to kill everyone as soon as he takes off the leash. He was very afraid that he might hurt Victoria. However, Victoria did not back down and finally removed the leash. Danny could not believe that he was in control. Now Danny was completely free from Brett's mental slavery, but his troubles were not over yet. The real mountain of troubles was yet to come. One day, Sam gives him some money and says, "Go and buy whatever you want with this money." Danny was very happy today. He goes shopping like a child, but his luck was so bad that on the way out, he bumps into a man who immediately recognizes Danny. He says, "Where have you been all these days? Come back home with me, Uncle is waiting for you." Danny was very happy in this new life, so he refuses to go. But on hearing this, the man said, "If you don't come back, Uncle will send a thug, and we won't even have trouble finding you." Danny is very scared, so he immediately returns. Now we see Brett, who was perfectly fine. He says, Danny must have been very scared. That accident, that shooting, but look, I was in the hospital for a whole month, but now I'm back. Danny says, I have a question. Do you know my mother? Brett says, why would I know your mother? I found you on the side of the road, lying in the garbage, half dead. You couldn't even talk. No one cared about you except me. He says, Danny, why are you suddenly interested in the past? Is someone filling your ears? Although he doesn't scold him too much because only Danny could make up for the damage that had been done in the past month. The next day, he takes Danny to fight again. We see a deadly fighter there who has just killed a man. Brett says, go fight him. But Danny said, I won't hurt anyone. Hearing this, Brett gets angry and shouts, you'll go down and do your job or it won't be good for you today. But Danny keeps saying that he won't hit anyone. Finally, Brett is a little gentle and says, look, if you go down and do your job tonight, I promise that tomorrow I'll buy you the best piano in town. But Danny's head was filled with the ghost of not fighting. He just keeps repeating the same thing like a tape recorder. After which, Brett pushes him and throws him into the ring. As soon as he falls in, the deadly fighter attacks Danny to kill him. But instead of fighting him, Danny just tries to escape. Once he even tried to kill the fighter, but at the last moment he stopped his attack. The crowd says, what is happening? He's not even fighting. After which, Brett throws a sharp axe into the ring, which is mistakenly picked up by the fighter instead of Danny. The crowd sends some more fighters down to make the game more interesting, which increases the danger for Danny. Everyone together beats up Danny. They pick him up and knock him down, and then pick him up by his feet and rain down a barrage of kicks and punches on him. This fight was going to end with his death. After which, Danny has to fight them to stay alive. He beats the girl who attacked him badly, and Danny beats up anyone who tries to stop him. Seeing his fighters losing like this, the crowd throws more weapons into the ring. One tried to kill him with a spear, the other tried to break his head with a hammer. But even together, they couldn't even break Danny's hair. In the end, Danny broke the girl's legs and beat everyone to the point that they couldn't stand on their own feet, let alone fight. Although he wouldn't take anyone's life who was against the rules. If he hadn't killed them, Brett wouldn't have gotten a penny for this fight, so he shoots them himself. He was very angry with Danny because in today's fight, he didn't listen to a single word of his and always did what he wanted. After bringing them home, they beat Danny a lot and throw him back in the cage. Meanwhile, we see Sam and Victoria, who were very saddened by Danny's departure, but these poor people had no idea how much pain he was going through. That night, Danny finds a picture in his cage, seeing which Danny gets an idea. He broke the lattice and went to Brett's room where there were many pictures. Among them, he found a photo of his childhood, but Danny was looking for his mother here. Finally, he found a photo in which a woman was playing the piano. He immediately came to Brett and said, "This is my mother." But Brett says, "Your mother was a prostitute. Do you know what a prostitute is? A person who sells her body for money. I loved her. If she were here today, she would probably be the most special woman in my life. So after she left, I raised you like my son." Hearing all this, Danny calmed down, although he no longer trusted this man. So the next day, while going to the fight, Danny turns the steering wheel of his car, which causes a very bad car accident. After that, Danny took off the leash from his neck and ran to the people he considered his real family. When Victoria sees the picture, she tells Danny that your mother doesn't look like that kind of woman. I think she was a piano teacher. When she tells Sam about what she saw in the picture, Sam immediately understands where the picture is from. They then go to the music library where the picture was taken. An old librarian tells them that this girl used to teach piano to children here years ago, but then she suddenly disappeared somewhere. The old woman gives them another picture of her in which Danny's mother's face is clearly visible. As soon as she sees them, Danny starts to remember his past, although his memories are still very blurry. That night, when Victoria comes to his room, she sees Danny, who is holding a picture of his mother and remembering her. Victoria looks at the picture carefully and finds out what music her mother was playing in this picture. To bring joy to Danny's face, she took out the notes of this music and started playing it. But as soon as the melody of this music reached Danny's ears, a flood of old memories flooded inside him. He remembered how some goons had entered his house years ago and tried to misbehave with his mother, but when she did not listen to them, they shot her. At the same time, we see Brett and his goons who had reached his house in search of Danny. Meanwhile, Danny had remembered everything, after which he tells Sam and Victoria to leave immediately because their lives were in danger here. But unfortunately, it was too late because Brett had already reached there with his goons. Danny fights them to keep them out of the building, but those goons were not stopping. It was as if Brett had set the whole city after Danny. When Brett sees that Danny is beating up his people and throwing them down, he sends his most dangerous fighter to fight Danny. Meanwhile, Danny comes to a closed room to save his life from these gangsters. But here too, this fighter attacks Danny. The two have a fierce fight, but it seems that Brett knew Danny's weaknesses, so this time he sent his opponent. That fighter beats Danny and makes his condition worse. Although Danny did not give up and kept fighting him until his last breath. Seeing everyone being killed, Brett's blood boils, after which he decides to dispose of Danny himself. Danny was trying to escape from the stairs, but Brett fired at him and surrounded him from all sides. Now, poor Danny could not escape anywhere, after which he returns to his room through the roof, although Brett had already figured out his trick. Before he could run away, he caught him. He was starting to hate Danny. He says, "This is your home, where your conscience will wake up. Don't forget, you're a dog. You're my dog. You should have finished you off like a responsible owner would do to a dog that's gone mad." But even after saying all that, Brett throws away his gun because he was attached to Danny. He was the only thing that had been with him for so many years. He took out that leash again and said, "Go home, son. Forget everything. You'll be safe. You'll return to a world that you know. The only world that you know is the one." In this way, Brett had him under his control again. Sam and Victoria were listening in secret, but they were too scared to do anything. Danny slowly walked towards him, but as Brett was about to put a leash on him, Danny stopped him and said, "This is my home from now on." It was clear that Danny was not going to fall for his tricks anymore. He was fed up with his lies. Danny beats him a lot, and he could never forgive him for what he had done to his mother. Brett knew that he had no life without Danny. He said, "Kill me, then there will be no difference between you and me." Danny was about to take his life when Sam and Victoria stopped him from doing so. Brett said to provoke him, "Remember your mother. Remember what I did to her? I robbed her of her honor every day. I kept her as my mistress." Hearing this, Danny could not control his anger. Before he could have killed Brett, Sam hit him with a pot on his head to shut him up, which knocked him unconscious. Now there was no one to provoke Danny, so he calmed down. In this way, he had found a new family and an identity of his own with which he could live a normal life. Finally, we see Victoria performing in a huge auditorium where he had dreamed of going as a child. She plays the same music that Danny's mother used to play for Danny as a child. As soon as Danny hears the music, he remembers his mother and he cannot hold back his tears and starts crying. With this, the story ends here. Hope you like this movie. Thanks for watching. See you next time.